Welcome to another installment of Music Deconstructed. This video is going to be covering the song Hollow. Now, this song never would have happened if it wasn't for my good friend Jeremy Stevens. He wrote these lyrics as a poem and he posted it on his Facebook page. And I remember I was driving home and I thought, I have to write music to this. He and I have worked together before on a song called Recluse, or however you want to say that word. That's on my B-Sides album on aloststateofmind.com. This song was rushed primarily because I wanted to get it done for other people. Now, it's not rushed in the sense that I rushed the songwriting. It's rushed in how I mixed it because I wanted to get this song out there. Now, I'm going to be remixing the song at a later date for the new album. So what you're going to hear on this video is roughly the song as I mixed it for when I posted it a few months back. Now, some of the minor issues with this song, for me personally, as far as the mixing goes, were just the guitars. I didn't like how grainy they sounded. I didn't like how I mixed them together, and I didn't spend a lot of time mixing them. The other thing that I was experimenting with a new plugin, and I don't think I got the sounds right. What you hear is pretty much what you're going to hear on the song on the website, minus a few volume changes that I made for this video specifically. One last thing, just like I mentioned in other videos, as I solo each individual element to the song, it's going to sound louder to you than it is to me. It's only because I need you to hear that element of the song. Not everything's going to be as loud as you hear it within the mix, because like I've explained before, you generally have to tame different sounds. It might be loud at this part of the mix, but if that same sound comes in, let's say during the chorus, you have to bring it down a little bit when other elements of the song come in. So just keep that in mind. If you're writing your own song, don't expect everything to be just as loud. With that being said, here's the entire song. It's not that large. It's only... I'm not going to count them out for you. You can count them if you want. But I have a drum track right here. In addition to the drum track, I have the kick drum right here. I bounced down just the kick drum for the song rather than the entire drum track because, again, I was kind of in a rush to get the song out there. But I wanted to focus specifically on the mix because I might get into that in a little bit, but I'll just tell you right now, the drums were too clicky for me, and they're also too bassy for me. It just wasn't sitting well in the mix, so I bounced it to a different track, and I decided to EQ it and add processing to make it go away. You have a piano that comes in the mix. You don't hear it very well in this version of the mix. I might bring it in when I remix the song. You have the bass right here. And here are all the guitar tracks right here. Okay, so I have my main riff guitar right there. I have pretty much my chorus lead that plays in the background of the song. This is my solo rhythm guitar right here. And this is I call it my psycho guitar. It's when I take chords or notes and I make them sound psychotic, and you'll hear what I'm talking about. Then I have, right here, I have my guitar solos. I broke them up into 3 different sections. I have my ending guitar right here, which is also my intro guitar. And then I have my 3 drone notes. And then all my vocals are right here, including Rachel's vocals. But I'm not going to solo that for you because if she watches this video and she hears that I did that, I will probably not be alive. So let's get started. The drums, I'm going to focus a little bit more on the drums just for a specific reason before I get into the intro. The specific reason being the drums were pretty much how I came up with the guitar riff. I found a MIDI track that sounded cool, and I decided to alter some things around to get this drum beat right here. I And it does that throughout the song until it gets to the chorus, which is a very slower paced halftime chorus. One of the techniques I like to use is when I'm writing a song, I'll have the drums act crazy and the verse will be somewhat simplistic, but then when the chorus comes in and everything is absolutely just everything is happening at once, I like to tame down my drum beat so it's not so chaotic. It's like the opposite thing people would expect to do during the chorus, but I feel like minimizing the drums allows for more things to happen, and at least in this song it did. And you'll hear what I'm talking about when I get to it, but this is what the drums do during the chorus. And as you can tell, it pretty much does the same thing. One last thing, during the guitar solo, the drums do a different thing. Like this right here is the second chorus. It's basically what you just heard. Then there's a little break in the song where the guitars ring out, and then right when the solo comes in, you hear these drums. So now that you have that down and you kind of get the idea of what I was trying to go for with the song in regards to the drum track, we'll start at the very beginning and I'll play this guitar riff. Now, this guitar riff actually was a last minute addition to the song because as I was going over this with Jeremy, he wanted the first verse to be very soft and almost kind of melancholy while the rest of the song was kind of angry. And we're gonna go over that. I think in a week or two, Jeremy and I are actually gonna have a conversation. We're gonna go over the lyrics and actually have a lyrical breakdown. And he's gonna go into detail as to why he wrote this and what was going through his head. So I'll wait till then to explain the lyrics. But just know that in this song, the lyrics are supposed to have a more angry, menacing sound to them. Okay, but I didn't realize after that he wanted the first part of the lyrics and also the very last part to be very melancholy. So I had to kind of change things up. And I switched the lyrics over. So instead of being like 3 verses, there was only 2. And I put the very intro verse that was verse 1, it became the intro verse and then became soft. So when this starts out, I just have a guitar and that is it. And this took me all of 3 seconds to come up with. It was just something that seemed like it fit the song and I went with it. So not a lot of time was spent right here. So this is the intro guitar. And it just repeats over and over again. Now, as a viewer, I want you to know that this section right here, you can see my mouse and all this, this highlighting happening. This is where the actual song kicks into the very first verse. Up until this point of the song, it's very chill, very relaxed. But I did add a few elements into this song to kind of, besides the vocals, I added a few elements to kind of build things up into the first verse. One of these things was this psycho guitar here. I'm going to play you the intro part of the psycho guitar. Let me actually make this a little bit bigger so you can see it. I'm going to play the intro part of the guitar, but I'm also going to play what the psycho guitar sounds like behind the main verse. Just briefly, and I'll get into it again, but I want you to hear what the psycho guitar sounds like. So this is it building in to the first verse. repeats that, but as you can tell, it builds. It's doing the same thing in the verse, but it just builds up in this section right here. It's kind of like my way of blending the intro and the verse one together. The next element that comes in with the intro is this part right here. And it's just a drone note, that's all it is. If you look here, it builds up, it gets louder. Let me just go to that point. That's it. So all together, between the drone note, the psycho guitar, and my main riff, this is what it kind of sounds like leading up into that verse. And that's that. So the very last thing are the vocals. Let me minimize everything so you can kind of see what's happening here. As you can tell, I wasn't lying. This is the intro. So the last thing to cover are the vocals. At this point, if you've been following this series, I'm not really going to comment on how bad my vocals suck. You should know by now. So from here on out, I'm just going to go ahead and roll with it. But this is what my vocals sound like by themselves. And I'm showing this to you because I want you to hear the effects that were added into the verse just for this part. I do something really different and drastic during the actual heavy part of the verse, but this is just the intro verse. Very simple. So here we go. Solo. Some days I wish I had a soul, or whatever it is that makes one whole. That thing which makes one feel that it's wrong to fucking lie or steal, that genuinely makes you wanna cry when someone close is about to die, when someone close is about to... Now this part right here I want to bring up because you can see this distortion plugin. It's this little thing, this little guy right here. I did add a distortion plugin, but I also wanted to automate it so it built up to, because remember, everything up until this point is building up into the very first verse, okay? So everything's clean, everything's just minding its own business, and then this is where it kind of starts to build up into the distortion, okay? So let me, you can see the automation where the distortion gets louder and louder, and listen as it does it. You wanna cry. Someone close is about to die. Someone close is about to die. Someone close is about to die. And it stops, okay? Now, altogether, this is what it sounds like right before the very first verse. And once this is done, I'm going to start, like I said in the last video, I'm going to start segmenting these videos so it's not just 40 minutes of me talking about the same thing. And so I'm going to end this video right when it goes into the intro. I'm going to go ahead and stop it, and then we'll continue on with part 2 of this. So here's everything from the intro, from the end of the intro rather, because you've heard everything else. And that's that. So thank you for joining me on part 1 of this video. I hope to see you in part 2. Of course, I won't see you because I'm talking to my computer right now. Thanks for watching.